we are going to discuss the amendments that you need to know. The amendments we will discuss are the Fifth Amendment, the Ninth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, 3 parts of the 14th Amendment, the 16th Amendment, and the 19th Amendment. So get your pencils and notes ready and feel free to stop the video at your leisure. You may pause the video, go back to a previous point in the video, or ask the teacher for more clarification on an amendment. The amendment says that the national government cannot take away a citizen's right to life, liberty, or property, in other words, their natural rights, without due process of the law. This is important because it prevents the national government from denying basic civil rights to its citizens. You might have heard someone use the phrase, "I plead the Fifth." This comes from the Fifth Amendment. Basically, the Fifth Amendment protects those that are accused of crimes. It does other things, which we'll get into later. It also defines the right of eminent domain, which are just land-owning laws. The Ninth Amendment says that there are basic rights not listed in the Constitution. We call these implied rights. This is important because it would otherwise be impossible to list out every single right. By explicitly including some rights, you would inherently be excluding others. The 10th Amendment tells us that any power not given to the national government is given to the states. We call this reserved powers. This is important because it helps create a balance between the national and state governments and gives states their identities. There are several parts to the 14th Amendment. The first part, citizenship, is something we talked about in the beginning of the year. The second part is due process for the states. And the third part is equal protection. 14th Amendment Part 1, citizenship, is something that we've already been over. It grants citizenship to any person born or naturalized in the U.S. This is important because it allows America to be diverse and extend certain rights and responsibilities to the people living under its government. The second part of the 14th Amendment is due process of the states. It says that state governments cannot take away a citizen's right to life, liberty, and property without due process of the law. This is important because states could no longer get around the Fifth Amendment, which is due process for the national government. The last part of the 14th Amendment is the Equal Protection Clause. It says that every citizen within a state is guaranteed equal protection under the law. This is important because everyone was protected equally under the law now. States were required to treat individuals in the same manner as others in similar conditions. The 16th Amendment says that Congress has the power to collect taxes on your income, which is how much money you make. This is important because it allows the government to raise money for public works projects and programs. Our final amendment is the 19th Amendment. This is one that you should have learned about last year. It says that women have the right to vote, or what we call women's suffrage. This is important because women play an important role in our government, and Americans value diversity, a variety of viewpoints, and equality. You might have been asking yourself, what does due process actually mean? We know that the 5th and 14th Amendments are due process amendments. But basically, due process just means the government has to follow a certain set of rules or established legal procedures. If you've ever wondered how the government can protect your natural rights, then look no further than due process. The point of due process is protect citizens' rights from unfair treatment by the government.
Created using Powtoon.